let's go to this. Obviously, each and every Tuesday night we get to talk about the playoff rankings as they are hot off the presses or hot off the steamer or whatever the hell you want to call it, depending how you think about it. So let me get the graphic out of the middle of the screen there. We'll hit the top four. I don't think, based on what we got last week, I don't think there was any surprise. Ohio State 1, Georgia 2, Michigan 3, and Florida State at 4. I mean, I know we talked about it on the simulcast a bit last week. We didn't think Ohio State was the number one team. Does anybody this week think Ohio State is the number one team in this country?
I feel more that they should have been number one team after this week.
Thank you, EJ. For Christ's sake, we kept getting preached to, well, the resume is the reason. And with all due respect to my 3 Irish fans here on the panel,
calm down.
They're even worse than they were like they lost.
Right.
Miserably, with all due respect. They shouldn't be in the top 25, but for some fucking reason they are.
Money.
Okay, listen, Jim. This is twice you've gone with capitalism. You're throwing.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, Jim,
we've been over this before, Kyle.
Well, technically, you're attacking capitalism, so it does fit your woke Jim persona. Okay, carry on. But with all that in mind, Notre Dame as a flat thing is worse. What are we doing? What do we do? Now, people may be wondering, Kyle, why are you drinking wine tonight? Now, the real answer is I haven't had time to buy beer. But the other reason is it's more alcohol by volume to deal with this goddamn CFB. So there we go.
Yeah, if you want to put us to top 4, I'm okay with them top 4. But number 1, get the fuck out of here with that.
Should be 3.
Entire fuck out.
It should be number 3 at best.
Yeah, 3 at best. Again, if you want to argue Georgia or Michigan at 1 and 2, fine. But those 2 teams should be 1 and 2. But yeah, but again, as I've stressed, every year we've gone over these when it's week 1, week 2 of the rankings. These things are going to shake themselves out because the teams that currently the teams that currently sit at 1 and 3 play in 3 weekends. So,
but what they're just going to do is swap them. Once Michigan wins, they're giving a safety net to keep Ohio State in that top 4.
That won't happen. I guarantee that.
If you could kindly cue Rick Sanchez for me for Matt's take, Jim.
But I don't see.
This guy gets it.
Here's the thing about that, though, because when Michigan clobbers Penn State this weekend, that'll make the other Ohio State big win look worse. And depending on how the rest of the season shakes out, like Washington, Oregon, Texas, if they win out, Bama, if they win out. I mean, I know we're taking a big gamble talking about if Florida State wins out, but I think the scenario we saw last year with Ohio State slipping in like the back door that forgot to get locked.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, now, granted, we're basing this on projections and thoughts and how teams look and are playing at the moment. I don't know that it's going to be as easy for them to sneak their way back in.
Agreed.
Louisville loss is real unfortunate, Jim. Your Irish would have been in the conference championship against Florida State with a chance to make the playoff.
But they're not.
Jim, why bother? Don't even bother. No, seriously. If Florida State wins out, Michigan beats Ohio State, Georgia wins out, of course, Washington wins out, no way fucking hell Ohio State is in the top 4. No way hell.
They'll only have 1 loss though. At that
doesn't matter.
Hold on.
If Washington wins out, they'd be undefeated.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Here's where this is all a very lucid, intelligent, well thought out objection. Overruled. Ohio State's still going to get in. Oh, well, they beat. Let's say they fall to 15th Penn State. They beat number 15. And golly jeepers, they lost in a close one. Assuming it's close, Jim, I understand. They lost in a close one to that Michigan team. And golly jeepers, we should put them both in the top 4. And what's going to happen with Washington's concluded schedule, they're going to leapfrog Florida State. Mm-hmm. Your nose should be on the outside, and rightly so, is what you mean to say. And that'll
rightly so.
And that'll put Washington third rather, with Ohio State fourth against your Noles, over your Noles.
So you think that a one-loss Ohio State team without a playoff win,
if it's a close
or a conference, without a conference title, is going to be put in above a 13-0 Florida State team who will
bet that entire ass it will.
I don't think it will happen.
Rightly so.
If it's a close
They haven't played anybody but an LSU team that's been exposed as a team that only plays in the first half against anybody good. Yes, Brian Kelly jokes. Fine, Jim. But
hold on, I got something for you.
I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen.
No, I listened plenty. All I could hear about was my family.
Let me say to Kyle's point real quick, though. It's actually a good take because I don't trust the committee to do the right thing.
Thank you.
To your point. So I see what you're saying there. Do I think it'll happen? No, because I think Florida State.
Moron.
I think ultimately,
at the same time. What just happened?
I think ultimately the better record will come through. Like normally those scenarios play out if there are like multiple one-loss teams in a situation. You have an unbeaten team who did their job.
UCF and watched an undefeated team get fucked. Okay.
Oh, but when there was two teams that were going to the playoff, that's it, not four.
No, sir, that was not in the era of the BSC.
Which year we're referring to?
I repeat, UCF was placed 12th behind a number of teams with losses when they were undefeated, including.
But you know why, though, right? Because they didn't take UCF seriously because they were not a major.
And
school.
What they said was their schedule.
Florida State, though, is a major school. Therefore, they'll probably get more
much
trust.
I think you're beginning to realize that in the way things are shaking down now, the ACC doesn't hold the weight that it used.
No,
no point. They have plenty
on
the committee that will prop them. That's your one hope.
My interest right now, though, Jim, I know it's not really a top 6 thing here. I'm eyeballing Alabama. I'm eyeballing Alabama a lot now because
why?
Joe Clay has a thing on the show. You guys know, what's the overall
and lose, and then it doesn't matter. Like,
I mean, they look better at the last couple weeks. They look much better.
That's fine. You're going to lose to Georgia, though.
Possibly, I would put Georgia as definitely in that game.
They're going to lose to Georgia.
What's the line though here? Top 8 are not real contenders. Top 8 teams. Top 9. What's the line?
I would say, yeah. I mean, obviously, if Ole Miss would somehow upset Georgia, they're going to enter the conversation. Yeah, more on that in a minute.
Right. So,
but like, yeah, I think looking at it right now, Alabama, Texas, Oregon, Washington, and then the top 4 are the only teams that have anything hoping of an argument. I'm almost
that I take Texas that seriously at this point,
but they're in a position though to.
I'll say they're in the driver's seat. Now, yeah, they obviously they need they need Pac-12 teams to lose. They need Ohio State to slip up beyond just Michigan.
They need to win the conference first.
Well, right. I mean, but they
will.
They are in the driver's seat where they win out. I mean, yeah, they need help above them, but like
a driver's seat that features beating Washington or Oregon. Like, I'm in a fucking Pinto, guys. That's what I'm telling you.
I hate to say this too. Also, let me ask this question. I'm gonna ask anyway. They suck out loud, obviously, but there is a trick for Penn State also to get in this thing too, right?
No,
they win this weekend.
No,
if they win this weekend against Michigan,
no,
shut your ass.
If they beat Michigan this weekend, they won't.
No.
But no. But
no,
okay, you say that.
No.
Okay, you did this shit to me. You did this shit to the Niners and Browns. That happened. So stop that. Okay.
Yeah, you didn't have the balls to actually pick it. So
I said,
State?
No, hell no. But I'm saying,
okay, then
if they do,
here?
But listen, but what I'm asking here, if Penn State somehow, some way beats fucking Michigan,
no.
Does that open? That's what I'm saying.
No.
EJ, why do you think I'm trying to silence you so much? It isn't because I think you're wrong.
You're trying to save you from yourself.
No,
I'm not picking them.
I'm trying to keep it out of the fucking universe so it won't happen. You
just still
this bullshit in the general direction of the committee, and it might.
But Kyle, to my point about Texas,
game,
I understand they have Washington and Oregon sitting above them. Oregon plays USC, Arizona State, Oregon State, and then a Pac-12 title game. Washington plays Utah, Oregon State, Washington State, and then a Pac-12 title game. Like, there's potential for slip up for both of those teams, right? And then they play each other in a Pac-12 title game.
So one is
where like one over the so like let's say Washington slips up against Oregon State next week, and then Oregon beats Washington in the Pac-12 title game. Like they're both kind of out of the picture then. Or what if Oregon slips up along the way and then beats so Texas, I mean, obviously they have to win out. Anybody in these top 8 positions, theoretically speaking, or at least outside of the top 3, those teams need to win out. Florida State, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, they need to win out.
Let me ask this question. I'm glad you said that. Which of these top teams here, say the top 5 teams, can afford to lose a game and still feel like they can still get in? I think Kyle's Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now you Georgia?
I mean,
possibly Georgia if they lose in the SEC championship game. Possibly.
I mean,
but that
possibly
depends
Michigan if it's a close loss to Ohio State and Ohio State wins the Big Ten.
Okay.
Those are your 3.
I agree.
But here's my point though too, Kyle, to Florida State over Ohio State. Because like I understand your point of them of the ACC not being good. Okay. Like I get it. I do. Okay. But like the committee will point to resume of what the win looked like against LSU when they did it. Because I mean the Notre Dame
another one after that is my point.
The Notre Dame win for Ohio State is still holding water somehow.
And Ohio State, right?
So if Florida State wins out, then they are going to play and probably beat a team that is currently ranked 11th. Okay. So right. despite all of your thoughts and feelings and how terrible the ACC is, and I'm not telling you you're wrong about it.
He's correct.
But this committee is telling us that Louisville is the 11th best team in the country. Okay. So and
wrongly so.
Right. But okay. Louisville plays Virginia, the U, and Kentucky to close out the year. Those are all games they're probably going to win, right?
I mean,
Kentucky's in the year, but yeah.
But
I don't know.
So they're probably going to win all of those games. Well, let's take a look and let's see who's above them. Penn State's about to lose. Ole Miss is about to lose. Alabama could trip up. Texas, they're bound to Texas, right? Like Washington and Oregon, like so. There's a pathway for Louisville to get into this top 10.
But
absolutely, no question.
And then Florida State will win a conference title, something that if Michigan beats Ohio State can't do.
Right.
And Florida State will do such against a team that will be 8th in the country, 7th in the country. Rightly or not, that's a top 10 conference title win when Ohio State's sitting at home eating leftovers, man.
Jim, I'll go further, Jim.
No, hold on. I can already retort that because the committee time and again, and you hate it when I bring this up, but I have precedent on my side, Jim. The committee has constantly shown they value a quality loss over a bullshit win any day of the week.
How is a win over a conference win over a top 10 opponent?
See, but you're getting there. They have 2 wins in their entirety. Okay, with Ohio State. If they now granted
have 2 wins in their resume,
right? Here's the one, please. Here's your best argument. You've kind of you mentioned it, but I don't think you gave it enough weight. What will keep Ohio State out is getting slapped twice with 2 opportunities and 2 cracks at the Big Ten champion. That's the only thing that could keep them out.
When's their second opportunity against the Big Ten champion?
The conference. Well, for one, they're going to play Michigan during the season, and theoretically they would battle again in the conference championship.
No, that's not how the Big Ten works. The Big Ten still plays in their divisions.
You're fucked. If Ohio State ends up in a position where the only loss is Michigan, who they didn't get a second crack at because they're still at this bullshit division setup that they have, that's going to keep enough doubt in the mind of the committee to wave up. And listen, I love your point about the conference win being what it is. But Ohio State's also beaten Notre Dame. That's the reason why that doesn't hold water. The reason why Louisville's that high is because of that Notre Dame win, and obviously some active fucking athletic directors on the committee as well. The only reason Louisville's that high is Notre Dame.
Right.
So,
and
they have Notre Dame on their resume already. That's why that's not going to hold water. I love your theory until we get to that point.
And for the record, Louisville will be in top 10 next week. When they win this week, Penn State loses on they'll be in top 10. So yes.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean,
again, I don't agree that Louisville's a top 10 team, but they'll be there, and that's why Florida State, as an undefeated conference champion, would get in over a one-loss Ohio State team. I'll say it now.
Yeah.
You want to top? That's not fence sitting, is it? They'll get in.
No. Good job, Jim. I'm loving this.
They will get in over Ohio State.
I hope you're right. I would love an opportunity to high five EJ about the Seminoles in a way I haven't in a long fucking time, because he's promised he's going to hang out with me here soon, allegedly.
Oh yeah, we're working on that. So we'll get the high five in, and I would have never high fived a dude so hard in my life to celebrate the Seminoles. My dad will turn in his fucking grave. Well, maybe not, because he hates Ohio State that much too, or hated. I suppose.
All right, catching up on the comments here before we go past the playoff rankings. Mike says that if Washington runs the table, he thinks they should jump Florida State, and
they should jump it now.
And rightly so.
Yeah, they should.
And I'm an old fan saying that.
Number 4 team. Like, if we're being totally honest about it. But to my point, the committee values the ACC for some reason, so that's going to help me later on.
Jim, they have the ADs. Jim, you know the fucking reason.
Jim, they're
not going to change by the end of the year when Florida State can over Ohio State.
Jim, they have right now the best win right now, individual win of the year now, Washington over Oregon.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Agree.
And I'm a Knowles fan saying this shit. So imagine.
Mike says his top
feelings, Noler.
Mike says his top 4 is Michigan, Georgia, Washington, Ohio State.
I like it.
That's much better than what the committee served out.
I would have 3 and 4, but no big deal. But
and an interesting devil's advocate question from Mike. He said, if Bama wins out, beats Georgia in the SEC title game, does a 1-loss Georgia get in over Florida State?
Yes.
Probably.
That's very possible.
I think that is much more likely to happen than
Ohio State
getting in over.
Oh, I'll agree with that statement, Jeff.
Yeah,
100%.
For sure, absolutely, without question. Guys, any other thoughts on the college?
Why the fuck is Iowa at 22?
Well,
anyway,
that's
Auburn 21.
Kyle, did you not see they scored an actual offensive touchdown last week?
No,
nobody
watched.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe that happened, Matt.
I think I read it somewhere. It has to be true, right?
Nice. I read it on the internet. It must be true. I do enjoy that. 2 things. A, that Kansas State is still in the top 25 because of the valiant effort of Texas. Texas should have fallen more than they did, which is none at all. And I like that Tulane is ranked where they are at 23.
I do like it.
It's been a fun season though, college. I'll tell you that. Very fun season.
It has been fun. It has been a fun
2-yard touchdown pass Iowa had.
It was a fucking pass.
Nope, you're lying.
And for the record, I'm still pissed at you guys, Notre Dame, for not closing the deal against Ohio State. Fucking why? God damn it. Anyway,
they're pissed about it too, EJ. You're not helping.
Yeah, I'm thrilled about it.
In the fucking pills. While we're still
that's gonna make Florida State's loss to the U that much sweeter this weekend, because I'm gonna
say everything I just argued
rest of the season
ain't gonna matter anyway.
Like, EJ, I'm so pissed about that Miami win.
Hey Jim, conference rivals there, EJ. What are you doing?
Jim, fuck you, Matt, fuck you, Kyle, love you. Next one, let's go.